Hi guys, welcome back to ECA to Student Paramedic. I'm Freyja, and thank you again for returning to my YouTube channel on this really interesting journey I've been having. If you're new to the channel, hi, have a look at the videos I've been doing. It's all about my journey into the ambulance service, into ECA, emergency care assistant, and also how I was able to then join the student paramedics. So today I just wanted to give you an update of what's happening with uni and also a job I did, which may be able to help you guys out. My dissertation is now in my second attempt, which because I had exceptional circumstances, I'm allowed to do it as a first attempt, which is really helpful. So that's gone in today. I won't know for another 20 days, I think, about, how it's gone. But that's it. That's all my uni paperwork done. All my assignments, all my essays, everything. So let's have a look to see, how well I've done and if I pass. And obviously I'll update you on that. So yeah, really tender hooks there, but we'll get there. I just wanted to go through basically a job I did. Now everyone's got a job which they're really worried to get to, or they're nervous because they've not had the experience, or it just makes them feel nervous. For me personally, I think my main sort of apprehensions are to do with paediatrics, like really tiny babies, because we don't get to do them often, and when we do get them, it's quite challenging thinking, okay, well, this is a really tiny little thing. What do we do? And as some very close paramedic friend says to me, if in doubt, take a step back in your mind, take a breath and go ABC. Go back to your ABCs. What's the airway like? What's the breathing like? What's the circulation like? And if you can't get past A, then you stay on A until A is then okay, and then you go on to B. Don't go past B until B is okay, and you just carry on that way. And that's obviously true for adults as well. But I think there's always a little bit more of a worry, maybe a little bit of apprehension. I don't know if it's if it's just me. I don't think it is just me. I think it goes with a lot of people who are students and paramedics alike. Because these patients, these very tiny patients, these bundles of joy for someone, are very underdeveloped with their breathing, underdeveloped with their with basically their organs, and it's a very difficult time in their lives to survive, I suppose. You imagine back in the old days, mortality rate was huge. Nowadays it's a lot less, but we still got to be a little bit careful on how we treat these little bundles of joy. So I was called with my para to a Cat 1, and it was basically ineffective breathing, which for anybody that's quite challenging. And then we realised it's for a month-old. So you can imagine the the apprehension of thinking, oh my gosh, what we're going to do, what's happening. Straight away, I was the attendant at that time. So when the paramedic was driving, I got out my JAWS calc. I looked up page for age. I looked up 1 month old, and I made a note of, what the pulse is supposed to be, what the breathing rate, the respiratory rate is, all those little bits and pieces, and just to prepare myself just in case. We went there, opened the door, saw the parents, and the parents weren't worried, or they didn't seem to be too bothered at the moment. I thought, oh, okay, well, that's different. Okay, if someone was actually panicking and grabbing you and bringing you into the room, then it's a real big problem. It was a beautiful little baby, a month old, just under a month old, I think it was, and it just couldn't drink, couldn't feed. So the mum says every time it used to feed, it used to vomit, like projectile vomit. So went back thinking, okay, let's have a look at this baby. And the baby looked sleepy, but it was okay. It was looking and reacting to mum, which is great. So we use a really good sort of assessment tool to be able to just check very quickly if this is a big sick for a child or a little sick for a child. And then when you look at this paediatric big six, we just make sure that it doesn't have those red flags. The child didn't have the red flags, which thankfully was okay. And it just, I would say just, but what was happening is that when it was feeding, it was feeding too much, and this little tummy just couldn't take it. So obviously when the tummy doesn't take something, it brings up the rest, and this is what the parents are worried about. So I stepped back and thinking, okay, my hands were shaking with adrenaline, thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Took a deep breath. Is the child breathing? Yes, it's breathing. There was no cyanosis around its mouth, and it was crying, which is good. We always like crying babies. I know mums and dads don't like it, but it's the best thing because we know the airway's clear. So I listened to the chest, and I could hear no crackles. I couldn't hear any sounds of like any liquid on the lungs, or I couldn't feel any liquid in the throat. But remember, because it's not it hasn't been developed well at that point, you still could have some sort of aspiration of milk that goes back down into the lungs again. So just I just checked on that as well. It wasn't blue. It's a nice sort of pinky colour. It was warm, so I did a temperature check afterwards, after I did the breathing and the airways. But generally all the obs were very, very good. Did a pinprick on the heel just to check its glucose levels, and it was all right. And so at the end of the day, it was a reassurance for the mum that actually, at that moment in time, baby is all right. So when you're looking at a really tiny baby, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? If you ever worry about, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm not sure what the next step is, don't show it on the outside. One of the paras gave me a really good sort of advice and said, even though you may be flapping on the inside, don't show it to the parents, because obviously, if the parents see you flapping, then they think something's really bad. Okay, so try and flap on the inside, but not too much. And always go back to ABC, airway, breathing, circulation. And then you should be able to sort of regulate yourself from there. Another piece of advice someone told me, a different paramedic said to me, is always go into a job with thoughts of what the contraindications are, what could go wrong, what's the contraindications if you give a certain drug, and that way you'll never be surprised. Now, this really helps with confidence. I find myself, my confidence was rocked quite a few times because I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do if things go wrong. And the advice that was given to me, which then I'm hoping to sort of give to you guys, is if you're prepared for whatever the contraindication is, then you won't be surprised. And if you're not surprised, then your confidence is there, because you know that if something happens, you're expecting it and you're ready for it. So, for example, if somebody is having a seizure and you give them diazepam, you know, or you would know, that potentially that person can go into a respiratory arrest. So you're ready in your mind that if this person drops their respiratory, you know you've got your bag valve mask ready, you know you've got your airways, so you know you're ready for that surprise. So it's not a surprise anymore. I hope that makes sort of sense. It does in my mind when I'm thinking about it, but you know me, I'm not very good at explaining. So just think of what the contraindication is of whatever you're about to do, so then it's not going to surprise you, and that will give you confidence to move on from there. I hope that helps anyway. So right, I'm about to start my shift, and it's with an LDO. and they are going to help me with my confidence as well. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything right, I'm doing everything by the book, and all my little sort of niggles and my little tiny mistakes I make, I'm learning from them. And the other thing is I'm starting a CPD's, my CPD portfolio, I suppose, already, because that's going to help me reflect on certain jobs and trying to help me learn through my reflections in that way. I'm not sure I'm supposed to start CPDs yet, but I think for myself I will, because then I can look back and go, oh yes, I remember that job, and remember it for next time. Anyway, I shall let you go. Thank you so much again for tuning into this channel. I hope it helps. Please let me know if you've got any questions. If I don't know, I will certainly ask for you. Remember, this is a reflection of my own abilities, my own journey, and I just hope in some way it might help you and yours. Take care, stay safe, see you later.